Hello, and welcome back to Tiny Bunny Act 3. But before we get started, I had to show you my new Groot coffee cup. Oh my gosh, it's backwards. It's backwards. Ow, it's hot. Ow, it's hot. Ow, it's hot. What we do to show the cuteness. Isn't it stinking cute? Our Groot coffee cup. Yes, I had to show it. It is like the most cutest cup I've ever seen. All right, now let's get to Act 3 of Tiny Bunny. So we left off with the bully, Simon. I think his name was Simon, and he is now missing. So yes, that is the part that we left off. So let's see what happens. It's the one that hated Barbarin. You think he did it? I've heard he's a weirdo. I hurriedly rubbed my glasses. The glasses! Simon was clutching them in the fist while I was getting beaten up. And in just a couple of hours, this lost item was lying on the ledge of my window. It was hard to imagine that Simon suddenly got guilty. It was hard to imagine that Simon suddenly got guilty conscience and returned my glasses in such a strange way. I was shocked, but kept walking toward the classroom, accompanied by nasty whispers all around me. That photo still stood before my eyes. Simon has gone missing. Simon is gone. Good riddance, honestly. His fat fingers will never get to my throat. His signet ring won't smash into my chin. He'll never humiliate me again. No one will ever have to look at his ugly face again. Wasn't that what I wished for? On the other hand, did I really wish Simon to become a murky stain on the notice board? Yes. He was still someone's son, or grandson, and he went through the same struggles as me. Did I really wish for my unseen companion to dispatch him in such a brutal fashion? I didn't know the answer, or I was just scared of it. Nonetheless, school still had something nice about it. Polina, the girl with a violin, was like a mountain spring, like well water that could gulp down, pressing your lips against the zinc outer ring of a bucket, and I can't ever get enough. What if I make her one of the characters in the stories I'll draw? The protagonist will save her from terrifying monsters. As soon as I thought of monsters, a bunch of my classmates slid down the rail, smirking like the xenoforms from the Alien. I immediately felt larvae of fear wreathe in my stomach. I didn't want to cross paths with Romka and Bayasha after what happened yesterday, especially since Simon suddenly went missing. I entered the classroom and went toward the last row. All of the chatter suddenly died down, so I walked there in complete silence. It felt like my classmates pushed and poked me with their stares. They carefully observed my every move. They looked at me with a mortifying mix of pity, ridicule, and derision, like a scientist looks at an ugly representation of a newfound species of worms. I stared at the desk with a huge pile of library textbooks on top, my fist clenched. It felt like I was the one who disappeared in that snowy forest, and my desk was finally used for something worthwhile. Simon's empty chair stood in front of me. The chair that belonged to Vova gathered dust somewhere in another classroom. After a moment of hesitation, I sat down Wait, why? Why would I sit there? That's so dumb. After a moment of hesitation, I sat down at Simon's desk, the place where I was supposed to be assigned by Lilia at first. The chatter resumed, as if someone just unpaused a movie. Well, of course, why would you do that? They already think that I did it. They already think you did it. Why would you sit by Simon now that he's gone? That's like suspicious. That's asking for people to talk about you.
Бабушка Бабурина такой кипиш устроила, когда он домой не явился.
Baburin's grandma made such a fuss when he didn't return
Сначала в
home.
школу прибежала, потом ментов вызвала.
First, she ran to the school, then called the cops.
Да-да-да.
Yes.
Это он.
Katya snuck a cunning glance at me, then leaned in her neighbor and whispered something. Girls from the second row also leaned in. She shared something with them too. Whispers, nods. I kept catching her stare on myself. Her neighbor stared too. The whole class was watching me. It was like they felt the need to watch me because they were searching for traces of blood on my fingers. I wanted to defend myself and shout, "Guys, listen, I'm innocent." The delinquents turned around and stared at me in silence. Hey, maybe they'll leave us alone. Maybe they'll be scared. Their looks were dripping with malice. But why? What did I do to them? Their friend went missing and they're still focused on me. Suddenly, I noticed Bayasha drilling a hole in my nose with his eyes. It felt like he was about to point his finger at me and shout at the top of his lungs, "Everyone look! Baburin snatched his glasses yesterday and now he has them back. Murderer!" but he remained silent, as if there was nothing special at all about my glasses. I may be going mad. I think Bayasha knows something. He knows something, but he won't tell me what. As if looking for protection, I clutched the ruler until my hand hurt.
Не надо быть Коломбо, чтобы догадаться.
You don't have to be Columbo to solve this.
Кто на Бабурина зуб имел?
Who held a grudge against Baburin? Oh, there it is. The metal ruler fell out of my weak fingers. It hit the floor with a jingle, and that made the other kids shudder. Katya bit her tongue and squirmed nervously. Chairs scraped against the floor. My classmates moved away from me, closer to the exit, toward the teacher's desk. Good, they're scared of me. You should be. I was not the only one to catch wind of that change. Ramka and Bayasha looked around and winced in contempt. Too bad they weren't afraid of me like everyone else.
Да прикуси ты!
I must have read that wrong then, so they didn't wince is probably what it said. Shut it.
Бабурин, небось, с бабкой посрался и сдымился.
I bet you Baburin just got a whipping from his old hag and ran off.
Найдется.
They'll find him soon.
Найдется, ага.
They'll find him all right.
Во враге, со вспоротым брюхом.
In a ravine with the stomach cut open. Oh God, I gulped. She seems so sweet. Oh, geez, and then there it is, the image that we all clearly wanted. I imagined Simon on a snowy blanket, his face white like a fish belly, split down the middle by the crevice of his mouth, snowflakes falling on his glassy eyes and filling up his throat. See, I could almost hear his condescending tone. It's all your fault. But why was Simon the only one to get his dessert for bullying me? Weren't all of them supposed to disappear? Ramka, Bayasha, Katya, along with every laughing onlooker? Of course, Simon did me a favor by disappearing. Thanks to him, my classmates now stared at me in awe. But that was only one side of the coin. What if I'll have to repay the favor soon? The door creaked. Polina entered the classroom. Ooh, I wonder if she's gonna be scared of us now. I straightened up in a hurry so she wouldn't see me looking like a scared critter. Polina went to her seat without looking at me. The ringer's trill announced the start of the class.
Так, заканчиваем бардак. Дети, встаньте.
All right, stop messing around. Class, stand up.
Петров, тебя это тоже касается.
You too, Petrov. Uh-oh. Lilia went to her desk, followed by a policeman in a uniform. They think it was me too! It was a man that visited us just recently. Tall, and his stare so sharp you could get a cut on it.
Здрасте.
Hello there, kids.
Здравствуйте!
Hi.
Садитесь.
You can sit down, kids.
Познакомьтесь. Это
This is
старший
senior
лейтенант
lieutenant.
Константин Владимирович Тихонов.
Yep, what she said.
Он
That's his name.
задаст вам несколько вопросов и проведет небольшую лекцию по безопасности.
He's going to ask you a couple of questions and give you a small PSA.
Лучше лекция от милиционера, чем урок. Урок не здорово! Ура!
What? The class livened up. Talking to a policeman was way better than studying. I, on the other hand, was ready to sit through hundreds of hours of Russian literature just to escape the lieutenant's oppressive stare. His brown eyes felt around the classroom, looking for me. Hair stood on the back of my neck, and an icicle had lodged in my gut.
А правда, что Бабурина маньяк убил?
Is it true that Baburin got killed by a serial killer?
Екатерина, ну-ка цыц. Вопросы
Katya,
здесь
let the
взрослые
adults
задают.
ask questions here.
Просто нам всем страшно.
We're all scared.
Может, убийца бродит где-то рядом.
Maybe the killer is somewhere close. Maybe they're even sitting among us.
Спиной.
Her sly stare was directed at me. Ugh, she should have been taken too. Tikhonov? Tikhonov stepped in between the rows of desks and started walking at an excruciatingly slow pace, brushing his fingers against the chairs he passed by. Some of the students almost broke their necks following his movements. That's how a crowd of commoners would gleefully anticipate a public execution in the Middle Ages. And he just walked, getting closer and closer to me. I gritted my teeth to stop myself from screaming. Calm down. Breathe. You didn't kill or kidnap anyone. He already knew the answer to his question, but the policeman still asked in a stern voice.
Петров Антон.
Anton Petrov?
Да.
Yes?
Встань, Петров.
Stand up, Petrov. My muscles turned to stone. I got up, unglued myself from the chair. I felt like I could hear all my joints creak in the process. I only wish that Polina wouldn't turn around and see the grimace of horror on my face. If only I could be somewhere far away, in the forest, digging myself into a snow pile, rolling up onto a ball somewhere. The officer stared at me, as if he was about to lock a pair of handcuffs on my wrists. I wonder how cold these bracelets are to the touch. I imagine myself getting jailed and put into a juvenile detention center, where tens of thousands of Simons would constantly harass me.
Я ничего не знаю. Я тут ни при чем.
I don't know anything. I have nothing to do with this.
А тебя никто и не обвиняет.
Nobody is accusing you of anything.
Пока что.
For now. Only then I noticed a file that said case number in his hand. It had a gray cover made from rough carton. It flopped onto the desk like a guillotine blade that slid down on someone's neck. With a measured motion, Tignov opened the file, still studying me with his gaze. I caught a glimpse of documents and photos. They showed prints on the snow. They looked like animal prints.
Ты с Семеном Бабуриным общался?
Have you talked to Simon before?
Я знал его всего одну неделю.
I only knew him for a week.
Все знают, Петров его ненавидел.
Everyone knows that Petrov hated him. I turned red. You ugly bitch. I wanted to sink my teeth into Katya's face and chew out her cheek. Haha, she's next. Instead, I replied with the calmest voice I could muster.
Мы повздорили не так давно.
We had a fight some time ago.
Он меня ударил.
He hit me. A voice came from the side.
Хана тебе.
You're fucked.
Так, Пятифанов, а ну рот закрой!
Hey, shut your mouth. I staggered, barely able to keep my balance. Surprisingly, Lilia came to my rescue.
Бабурин проблемный подросток, с шилом кое-где.
Baburin is a troubled teen, a true pain in the rear. The officer replied with a meaningful nod and fished out a notebook out of the file. Notebook.
Это твое?
Oh, an algebra notebook. Is this yours? I averted my gaze. It was a math notebook with my name on it. My classmates devoured me greedily with their eyes. It felt like even the writers on the portrait squinted at me in suspicion.
Мое.
Yes.
В лесу нашли.
We found it in the forest.
Там же тракторист, что снег убирал в последний раз, видел Бабурина.
In the area where the tractor driver who was plowing snow there last saw Baburin. I started blinking in bewilderment. Romka ransacked my school bag. This notebook probably just got lost somewhere in the bushes. The lieutenant knew about the school brawl, but was he aware of the fight in the forest clearing? I had witnesses that could testify to Simon and I walking in different directions after that. I looked toward the boys, hopeful. Romka, who sat behind Tikhonov. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry if I say these names wrong. I really am trying. Put a finger to his lips. And when the officer quickly turned around, he pretended to pick on his nose. I deciphered his signal. Boys like Romka would probably say something like, "Snitches get stitches," in a situation like this. I frantically fixed my glasses. Wait, Simon took them away yesterday, but now they're...
Так что ты делал вчера в лесу, Антон?
So what were you doing in the forest yesterday, Anton?
Я в школу через лес хожу.
I go to school through the forest.
Могла выпасть легко.
It could have easily fallen out of my bag. Easily, just like me, producing this half-truth.
Будь осторожнее.
Be careful out there. Before I could realize whether it was a genuine piece of advice or a veiled threat, the teacher said,
Класс. А сейчас лейтенант расскажет о правилах, которые вам необходимо соблюдать.
Class, the officer will now tell you about some rules you should follow.
Так маньяк все-таки есть.
So the killer does exist.
Пока мы ничего вам сказать не можем.
We can't make any of this public for now.
Но есть преступник или нет, вы должны четко помнить о собственной безопасности.
Whether the criminal really exists or not, you should be mindful of your safety.
Вас бережет милиция. Вас опекают родители и учителя. Но в первую очередь защищать себя должны вы сами.
The police, your parents, and your teachers all watch over you, but no one guards you better than yourself.
Итак,
All
кто
right,
там
any
что хотел
questions?
узнать?
A stockade of arms rose from the desks. The kids shouted over each other, swarming the policemen with questions.
Скажите, пожалуйста.
Охрану у школы выставят.
Будет охрана! Точно!
In an attempt to calm down the chorus, he moved toward the blackboard. The gray file was left lying in front of me. I stared at it, my breathing so ragged that it might have looked like someone who just ran a 100-meter sprint. Beads of sweat rolled down my back. I looked around the classroom. My classmates were catching the officer's every word. Only Romka was saying something to Bayasha. Lilia was staring into the window, fighting back yawns.
Комендантский час причин пока...
As soon as I touched the folder... What? As soon as I touched the folder, Tikhonov lashed at me with his eyes. My hand instinctively moved away, as if that stare actually hurt. The officer just kept staring at me without saying a word, making me squirm under the weight of his uncomfortable silence and the sneering looks of my classmates. And then, he suddenly continued his speech, as if nothing ever happened.
Слишком мало времени прошло с момента исчезновения вашего...
Nobody paid me any mind, so I slowly opened the file. My fingers started sifting through the documents. Oh, that's so cute! That's Polina, right? As a kid? 6 years old. No, it's Ksenia. Ksenia, 6 years old, left her home sometime in December. Identifying features, okay. My heart almost jumped out from my ribcage. A round-faced girl no older than Olya smiled at me from the photo. The first victim of a serial killer. The first child to disappear in the forest without a trace. I turned another page. Oh, there's Vova, 10 years old. Vova was the second. His mitten hanging from the branch, his name called out by desperate adults and repeated by the sneering echo. Lilia coughed, trying to calm down the rowdy students. I yanked my hand away and the file closed.
Говорим о диких животных. Как известно, в наших лицах водятся волки, медведи, лисы.
I clanked my teeth in surprise, pushed myself into the back of my chair, blinking in bewilderment. The officer silently gathered the documents and gave me a stern look.
Больно ты любопытный, Петров.
Well, aren't you a curious boy, Petrov?
И еще раз.
Oh no, I got an achievement for getting caught. Let me say this
Если
again.
вы заметите в поселке кого-то подозрительного, неважно, возле школы или на лесной тропинке, сразу сообщайте в милицию.
If you see anyone suspicious in the village, be it near the school or on the forest trail, contact the police immediately.
Телефон-то знаете?
You know our number, right? 911.
Спасибо, ребята.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls.
Спасибо, Лилия Павловна.
Thank you, Lilia.
И это...
And we'll find your classmate.
Одноклассник.
Yeah, right. A thought flashed through my mind. Dig through enough ditches and maybe you'll be able to piece them together. Like Legos. My thoughts turned evil for some reason and I couldn't control them. I tried to switch to the lieutenant's speech about suspicious individuals. What if I saw the killer before? What if I was a hair's breadth away from them? Suspicious people, How suspicious was the fox girl that wandered in the darkness? A weirdo that always appears out of nowhere and then dissolves into thin air with her riddles and rhymes. Could she really harm the hulking Simon? Should I tell the officer about her? What if lives of other kids depend on this? Of the cute Ksenia and Vova too? Wait, what if I get mocked for speaking out? What if they'll start whispering behind my back? Or even worse, think I'm insane? Romka gave me a stern look over the shoulder. I doubt someone like him would approve of cooperating with the police. Katya's braid dangled nervously behind the delinquent sitting in front of me. My hand was glued to the desk.
До свидания, лейтенант.
Tikhonov was saying goodbye to Lilia. He was about to leave. It'll be too late soon. Stay silent or tell him. I don't know. What should I do? So, to be honest, I think I should stay silent because I don't think they're going to believe me, but I want to know what happens if I tell him, so we're going to tell him. I unglued my palm from the tabletop. I need to warn him, at the very least for Olya's sake, to assure her safety in the house near the squeaky pines. I raised my hand, heavy as a as a dumbbell. Excuse me? Oh, God. Almost 24 heads turned my way. My teacher, the officer, Polina. Katya shoved an elbow into her friend's side. Sleepy Bayasha stretched out his neck. Romka frowned inquiringly.
Я слушаю.
I'm listening. It felt like I was being studied under a microscope.
Вчера утром по дороге в школу я видел незнакомого человека.
Yesterday, when I was walking to school in the morning, I saw an unfamiliar person. My classmates started whispering. Tikhonov frowned, a deep wrinkle adorning the space between his eyebrows.
Да откуда ему знать, чужак это или кто-то из местных?
There's no way he'd be able to tell if it was an outsider or a
Он же
local.
в поселке без году неделя.
He just moved to our village. The other kid smirked. Katya flashed an evil smile.
Спокойствие.
Calm down.
Антон, а сможешь детальнее описать?
Can you describe them in more detail, Anton? Then it dawned on me. I could do more than describe them. What I can do.
Я нарисовать могу.
I can draw them.
Я рисую немного.
I know how to draw, kind of. Oh God, when they see that it's gonna be a fox with like a human body, I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble and he's gonna think that I'm trying to play a joke on the police. After spitting out this confession, I expected everybody to laugh, but that didn't happen. Even Katya stayed silent. Polina tilted her head and studied me with an intrigued look on her face. I was pleased by this wave of attention. It made me feel bolder, so I asked,
Нарисовать?
"Do you want me to?" Tikhonov slowly nodded.
Лиль Павловна, мы тут проведем следственный эксперимент. А?
Lilia, we'll conduct a bit of experiment here, all right?
Пожалуйста, пожалуйста.
Of course, of course. I took out a pen, flattened out a sheet of paper. My classmates stared at me in anticipation. Polina smiled, and it was the best reward I could get from my boldness.
Ну что, Ван Гог,
Well,
рисуй.
go on, Van Gogh. Draw. Wait, I have to choose it? Oh gosh, here we go.
Вот, пожалуйста.
I feel like this is gonna go so horribly wrong. Here. You're a true painter. We got an achievement for being Van Gogh. I handed my drawing to the officer.
Это что, лиса? Смешно, юморист.
What's this? A fox? Very funny.
Прикажешь ее по лесу с собаками ловить?
Should we send a pack of hunting dogs on its trail? It felt like the window started shaking from everybody's laughter. Even Lilia couldn't help it.
Все не так.
I knew this was gonna happen. That's not it.
Петров! А Чебурашка тебе не попадался?
Hey, Petrov, maybe you could also meet with Cheburshka.
Вот умора!
Hilarious. Simply hilarious. I was burning at the stake of shame.
Все ясно. Что тут еще скажешь?
Case closed, I guess. Tikhonov crumpled my drawing in his
No.
fist. Well, I'll be
Занимайтесь.
going. He left. The bell rang.
Придурочный.
Nut job. I didn't move, just kept staring into space. Lilia passed by without looking my way. Polina left after her. My classmates went silent at the same time as if somebody muted the sound on a TV. They followed me with their eyes the whole time I was passing between the rows. Judgmental looks. I felt like I was in the scopes of many sniper rifles. I squeezed through the barricade made of dust, looking for Polina. But I stumbled into my new buddies instead. Romka swaggered up to me,
Решил сдать нас ментам?
decided to rat us out to the cops.
Но я ничего не сказал.
I didn't say anything,
Да то подумал на.
but you sure as fuck thought about it, eh? Romka towered over me, breathing out a faint smell of tobacco.
Ты сильно ошибаешься, думая, что без
Maybe I
Сёмы у
should
тебя
have told them
настанут
about the
веселые
fight.
деньки.
Did I get the option to tell them about the fight? I don't even remember. You're very wrong if you think that without Simon you'll have a better time here.
Можешь не притворяться дурачком, пытаясь удивить Полину своей мазнёй или корчить из себя психа.
You can stop your weird act trying to impress Polina with your doodles or by acting like a loony.
Мы тебя сосвету сживем, понял?
We'll make this place hell for you. Got it?
До скорого,
See ya,
очкарик.
Four Eyes. My head tilted forward from a slap.
Вот the лохна!
What a loser, eh? I wasn't surprised to find a note stuck to my back during the break. It said, "Kick me." My nightmare clearly wasn't about to end. Wait until my mom finds out that I told a cop that it was a fox that was strange, and I think the fox killed her. After Olya's been talking about an owl, my mom is gonna be mad. It's been 7 days since the lieutenant visited our class. At first glance, everything was still the same. Okay, so 7 days later. The forest still held out its gnarly claws toward the village, and the wind whipped up white flags weaved from powdery snow every night. When my parents argued in the other room, I would turn up the TV's volume to silence their muffled voices and sit close to Olya. Bova's and Simon's photos were still black spots on the notice board, and brown-faced Simon hadn't returned home yet. But something did change. I could see how different the looks of my classmates were. They met me with a new portion of pokes and insults. Contempt, mockery, and loneliness became my faithful companions. But most importantly, a shadow slid across my desk, leaving behind a mysterious note. I glanced into space between rows, but the messenger was already nowhere to be found. Who sent me this note? What could this carefully ripped out and neatly folded piece of paper be hiding from me? More threats and humiliation? Or... I took the piece of paper and carefully inhaled the wafting aroma. Blackberry. I'll be waiting. Oh no, it's a trick. I'm gonna think it's Polina, and it's gonna be the two boys picking on me. Inside was a message in beautiful handwriting. I'm waiting at a dead end near the dressing room. Come alone. Oh, this is such a trick. How do I not see that this is a trick? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Drunk on that sudden call, I immediately started walking, looking over my shoulder from time to time, making sure nobody is following me. Even though I suspected it could be another trap set up by Romka and Bayasha at first, this buzzing thought soon left my mind. Okay, so Heath had the same thought I did. At least he's not a complete idiot. The two of them didn't have enough combined brain power to fake Polina's note so carefully. I didn't even notice how I almost broke into a run and jumped around the corner.
Ugh.
As soon as I did that, I rammed into somebody inside the dark nook.
Ой!
Like a magic bird, a green notebook glided to my feet. Polina puffed her cheeks in exaggerated anger.
Петров! Да ты совсем зрение потерял.
Petrov, have you lost your sight completely? I fixed my glasses. My nearsightedness wasn't that embarrassing anymore. I bent down and picked up the notebook.
Прости, я так торопился. Ты меня ждала? Что случилось?
Sorry, I was in a rush. Were you waiting for me? Did something happen? Polina studied me with her eyes and clicked her tongue.
А знаешь, на что ты похож, Антоша?
Do you know what you look like, Antosha?
На блюзовую импровизацию.
Like blues improv. I blinked in bewilderment.
Это как?
What do you mean?
Для меня все люди с чем-то ассоциируются.
I always associate people I know with something.
И для меня, но не с музыкой же.
I do that too, but why music?
Вот как раз с музыкой.
It can't be anything other than music.
Бывают люди гитарные соло, или барабанный бой, или военный марш, как наша Лилия Павловна.
Some people are like guitar solos, some are drums. People like our Lilia are war marches.
А ты такой
And you're so thoughtful,
задумчивый,
so mysterious,
таинственный,
sometimes even
иногда
a bit
немного
sad.
печальный. Ты точно блюз.
You're definitely blues.
А почему импровизация?
What about the improv part?
А это когда слушатель не догадывается, куда свернет мелодия, какой темп возьмет.
It's when the listener has no idea where the melody will go, what tempo it will adopt. Of course, some of the things Polina said went completely over my head, but I couldn't stop looking at her smile, light like a breeze in May, and her eyes deep and blue.
Чтобы распознать в тебе музыку, нужен опыт и вкус.
One needs to have experience and taste to recognize the music in you.
Это не какая-то там эстрада.
You're not some pop music.
Я, наверное, вообще не знаю, что такое
I don't
этот
think I
блюз.
even know what blues is. Polina gasped and frowned, which made her look even more beautiful.
Не произноси при мне такие слова. Я тебе обязательно дам кассету.
Don't say something like that to my face. I'll make sure to give you a cassette.
Раньше мне дедушка из города столько музыки привозил. И джаз, и свинг, и классику.
Grandpa used to bring me so much music from the city, jazz, swing, and classical too.
Это он подметил, что у меня склад ума, как у музыканта.
He was the one to notice my musical mindset.
Я еще совсем маленькой пыталась на бумаге записать звуки природы. Пение дождя,
When I was still
леса.
very little, I tried recording the sounds of nature on paper, the songs of the rain, and the forest.
Эх, мне бы твои уши.
Ugh, I wish I had ears like yours.
А мне бы твои глаза.
And I'd love to have your eyes. I tensed up, worried that she was making fun of me, but Polina shook her head.
Да-да, я серьезно. У тебя глаза художника.
No, I'm serious. You have the eyes of an artist.
Смотришь на вещи и фиксируешь их. Я так не умею.
You're so good at picturing things. I can't do that. Oh no, what's this bitch gonna do? Katya walked past us with her trademark frosty glare. We dove into the shadows, trying to escape it.
Теперь понимаешь, почему мы тут прячемся? Вот из-за таких, как она.
You understand why we're hiding here, right? Because of people like her.
А Катька какая мелодия.
What kind of melody is Katya? Olya's smile. Polina flashed me a sly smile.
Скрип несмазанных дверных петель.
The squeaking sound of unoiled door hinges.
Знаешь, такой мерзкий дискант.
You know this nasty descent. I giggled, covering my mouth. Katya didn't hear our whispers, but she suddenly glanced over her shoulder, clearly annoyed. A moment later, she sighed and went away. Haha, must suck to be blind. You don't have the eyes of an artist. I remembered about the notebook I was still clutching in my hand. I turned it in my hands. Friends only. Instead of a subject name, the front side had the name of the owner in 2 words. Friends only. Friend-zoned already. Ouch.
Любопытной Варваре кое-что оторвали.
Curiosity killed the cat, you know.
Прости, это анкета?
I'm sorry, is this a questionnaire?
Заполнял когда-нибудь?
Have you filled one?
Угу.
I lied that I had. In reality, girl classmates from my previous school had never asked me to fill their questionnaires. It was quite upsetting. I mean, it was a girl hobby. You just answer a set of standard questions about your favorite actors and colors. By entrusting someone with such a notebook was a sign of friendship. And maybe something even more, something I only had a vague idea about.
Хочешь, заполни мою?
You can fill in mine if you want. My heartbeat quickened.
Хочу, спасибо.
I do, thank you. Polina giggled.
А хотя...
Actually,
Там же
there are
столько
so many secrets
секретов.
there.
Наверное, лучше тебе не знать, о чем мы, девочки, думаем.
You'd be better off not knowing what we girls think. She reached for a notebook, playing with me. I tossed my finding into my free hand. Polina tried to intercept my move. Her hair briefly touched my face, tickling my nose with its silky locks. I sensed an aroma that immediately filled the whole world. Fragrant, alluring, lively. If only I could picture it, feel it for myself. I felt dizzy, but I gathered myself and spoke in a voice reminiscent of Lieutenant Tikhonov.
Ваша анкета является важнейшей уликой, и я вынужден временно изъять ее для изучения.
Your questionnaire is an important piece of evidence, so I'm afraid I have to confiscate it for further examination. Polina covered her mouth that rounded in fake horror.
И что мне грозит за сокрытие улик?
And what are the implications of concealing evidence?
Следствие покажет.
We'll decide that in the course of our investigation.
Сдаюсь, товарищ милиционер.
I surrender, Mr. Policeman.
Только обещайте ничего не читать.
Just promise you won't read anything.
Здесь содержатся секретные сведения.
It's full of sensitive information.
Боюсь, что мне все-таки придется выяснить, не влюблен ли кто в гражданина Петрова.
I'm afraid I'll have to investigate whether someone is in love with Mr. Petrov. Hang on a minute. Is it just me, or did her laugh sound a little bit like the foxes? Like, I don't know. I feel like there were traces of it. It sounded a little bit like the foxes. Polina burst out laughing and pressed herself against my chest, showering me with the aroma of her hair and her milky skin that looked almost transparent, with tiny threads of veins running under her. Her whisper was hot, like a piece of butter sizzling on a pan.
Тогда поклянитесь, что не станете разглашать информацию.
Swear to me that you will keep this information private.
Честная милицейская.
I swear on my police badge.
А теперь, Антоша, самое время поторопиться.
And now we need to hurry, Antosha. I wonder if I'm gonna meet the fox girl in the forest now. Oh, I'm not walking home yet. Okay. I took out the notebook during class. Skimmed through it, reading into other people's preferences. I was quite surprised to recover Romka's jerky handwriting inside. Romka, 6B, February hanging out, buying a BMW, don't trust, don't fret, don't ask, DuckTales. His letters bulged out of the shells as if embarrassed by the shapelessness. Fearsome Romka found time for something so silly. I chuckled into my fist after I found out that Romka's favorite cartoon is not even Darkwing Duck, but DuckTales. Somewhere in the distance, a teacher was reciting pieces of Andrew Snapper. I paid them no mind. Polina's page was decorated with flower drawings and clippings from the Cool Girl magazine. Polina, let's see, listening, see the world, losing the people I love. Her favorite musician is Skubert. Her best friend is her grandpa. Her hobby is not violin like I expected, but a much more mysterious listening. She likes to eavesdrop. Can such a mundane process really be someone's hobby? I looked at Polina over the heads of other students. She was focused on taking notes. I flipped the pages until I found a blank one and armed myself with a pen. What's your name? What classes are you in? Your favorite music, your favorite holiday, your hobby. What's your dream, your hero, your biggest fear, your phone number, your favorite cartoon, and your best friend. Anton Petrov, class 6B. It took a long time to decide on my favorite musician until a trendy pop band Carman came to mind with the cool dancers in their music videos. Favorite holiday, that one's easy, New Year's. My hobby is drawing. My dream is going to Disneyland, I guess. My hero? My hand moved on its own, writing, Duh, I stopped on those 2 letters. What if those who read this after me will find my answer laughable and stupid? After thinking for a bit, I decided that not everything should be disclosed on paper. That's how Dad turned into Spider-Man. The spelling was wrong, but who cares? I feel like Spider-Man is also a stupid thing to be a hero when he's in 6th grade, though. I feel like that's more something you would say, like, I don't know, K through 2, maybe? Your biggest fear, huh? I immediately wrote, losing a person who's dear to me. Your number? No secret here. My favorite cartoon, Transformers. Your best friend? I hesitated, gnawing on the pen's cap. Your best friend. I read the question out loud. It was easy, but at the same time, very important. The answer to that was my sister's name, so I carefully wrote it into the squares. Olya. Aw, that's so sweet. Olya. I repeated my sister's name while sneaking out of the school. There was a cute, freshly drawn dragon in my notebook that I made to please my beloved sister. In this land of darkness and deceit, her support was the only thing that inspired me to keep drawing and stopped me from losing hope in humanity. Refreshing frosty air made my cheeks turn beet red. It was bright outside and the sun looked like a whole egg yolk. The road looked as if it was slivered. The snow sparkled under the sunlight. I smiled, squinting from the blinding whiteness. Who cares if I don't have any true friends anymore? I have something more important. Someone who needs my help, who will never betray or hurt me. Family is the most important thing ever. That's what Dad always told me.
Лыс, хорош слыбу тянуть.
Hey, what's up with that stupid grin? My numb lips immediately shrank. Bayasha was shuffling his feet in the middle of the yard, his boots restless on the
Я не
ice.
тяну.
It's not a grin. I tried to go around him, to no avail. Lady Fortune waved me goodbye, disappearing in the early twilight.
Торопишься на?
In a hurry, eh?
Немного. Меня папа ждет.
A little bit. Dad is waiting for me.
Я ему тиркну на пейджер, что ты не придешь на.
I'll shoot him a pager message that you're not coming, eh? My eye flinched unwittingly. My skin dampened.
Идем на, к тебе дельце есть.
Let's go, eh? We have small business to discuss. I felt chills run all over my body. I didn't like the sounds of that, small business. Those words accompanied by spitting normally hid very dark D's underneath them. Strangers that used to call our old apartment used to say, "Get your old man, we have a small business to discuss." Bayasha turned around. He looked like an astronaut in this tight hood. If I were to imagine him as a sound, he'd be a deafening whistle, a signal given by someone who stands watch. To my demise, there was nobody at the backyard. Oh, apart from the grim-faced Romka. Oh, here we go again. He stood there, his feet wide apart, with his right hand hidden behind his back. Romka's dry lips were tightly pursed. He kept shooting glances at me as he looked around.
Привел на.
There he is, eh?
Вижу.
I can see that.
Ну, здорово.
Well, hello there,
Антоша.
Antosha.
Что тебе нужно?
What do you want? Oh, the knife. He slowly took out a thin, carnivorously shining blade from behind his back. A knife, the steel butterfly of death that flies towards the victim's heartbeat. I stepped back instinctively and ran my back into Bayasha. Romka's minion pushed me back.
А мы с Бешей хотели узнать.
We wanted to know.
Ты не держишь на нас обиду?
Do you have any hard feelings for me or Bayasha? Romka started picking on his yellow nail, looking at me with an evil smirk on his face.
Ну, там, в лесу.
Well, there, in the forest. We kind of roughed you up.
Сам понимаешь, такое у нас воспитание.
It's just our poor upbringing, you know?
Да, до вас, городских, далеко.
Yeah, not as cultured as you city folk.
Вот порой нас и заносит.
So we get feisty sometimes. I nodded my eyes, glued to the knife. The blade glowed under the setting sun, and Romka's eyes had the same evil glow. He stepped toward me. His knife traveled inches away from my coat. One moment, and steel would cut into the cloth. And if he pushes deeper...
Нам одна птичка напела. Ты опять возле Полины отирался?
A little bird told us that you were snooping about Polina again. I was so scared that it took me a while to remember who Polina was. My brain was malfunctioning, my knees were shaking. Suddenly, our class rep slowly walked up to Romka from behind.
О, смотрю, мальчики, вы нашли общий язык.
I see you boys are getting along quite well.
За мной должок, Катька.
I owe you one, Katya.
Ой, не благодари, Ромочка. Я
Oh, no need to
всегда
thank
на
me.
страже.
I'm always fighting for
Настоящая
true love.
Да-да-да.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll kill you, I swear.
Так, я не слышу. Ты к
I
Полине
can't hear
подходил
you.
или
Were you...
нет?
I can't hear you. Were you near Polina or not?
Мы так болтали.
Well, we didn't hang out or anything.
Болтать будешь кишками, когда я тебе брюхо вскрою.
The only thing hanging out here will be your guts when I cut open your stomach. The blade slid across my sleeve with its dull side and reached my collar. The wind made my face cold, but a bead of sweat still trickled from my temple. A switch flipped in my head. It all made sense now. I remember Romka constantly sneaking glances at Polina. I remembered his scrawly handwriting in the questionnaire. Why didn't I study it more in depth?
Еще раз замечу рядом с Полинкой, пеняй на себя. Шишкой не отделаешься.
I see you near Polina even once, and you won't get away with a simple bump.
Усек?
Got it?
Да.
Yes.
Пшел вон!
Now scram. I was probably so hypnotized by the knife that Romka had to repeat his threat.
Вон!
Scram! I thought about the cold, sharp blade when retreating from the yard. I was asking myself whether I had enough courage to break the promise I made to these bastards. The aftertaste of horrible water I drank down with my meds still lingered in my mouth. My thoughts were focused on Polina, but Romka's threat was also on my mind.
В общем, я сегодня книжку читала, там ребята учились в школе, прям как ты ходишь в школу, и они в школу ходили.
Да-да.
Вот. И у них был какой-то праздник, и они там поделки лепили и делали все своими руками. Нужно было...
Oh my
сначала
gosh, I was gonna wait till she stopped, but she's still going.
Потом еще шишки.
I wandered around the house feeling intoxicated and nodded to everything my sister said without trying to discern her words.
Делали там всякие.
Olya was talking non-stop, at times lifting up her arms and laughing, only to then suddenly go quiet and give my mom. Oh my god. I can't read with all of her talking. Shut up. Only to then suddenly go quiet and give my mom's signature gnarly look.
А?
Oh, thank you. I wanted to add though, I'm glad that Olya is okay. Because I was really thinking, because he said that Olya was his best friend, that she was gonna be the next one to go missing. That was my prediction. But so far she's okay, so that's good. I was yanked out of the prison of my own mind, where seething thoughts pecked at my brain like harpies, stopping me from coming back to reality. I stared back. Olya looked like a mini version of her mom right now. Well, to be precise, she looked like the person Mom turned into when we moved here, with her intimidating posture and her eyebrows directed toward the
Ты
ceiling.
меня не слушал, так?
You weren't listening to me, were you? She tried spitting out those words at me, copying facial expressions of the person she spent almost all her free time with. For a moment, I felt the light Olya exuded all those years waned and wavered in the wind of prolonged changes. Very soon, my beautiful princess would turn into the dragon that was once guarding her prison tower. That thought was much scarier to me than any other horror sneaking up on me in the future.
Оля, прости.
Sorry, Olya.
Ты же не сердишься, правда?
I didn't want to make you mad. I got lost in thought. I looked around the room, my gaze jumping from one object to another like a hungry beast, trying to find anything that could distract her.
А давай в приставку поиграем.
Let's play the console. Olya pouted, but there was a spark of interest in her small emerald eyes. The Snow Queen's eye shard inside them started thawing.
А как же второй джойстик? Не работает же.
And what about the second controller? It's not working.
А папе починить некогда.
And Dad has no time to fix it.
Можем из пистолета пострелять.
We could play with a light gun.
Ковбоев или уток.
What
Хочешь?
do you want to play? Cowboys? Ducks?
Ты лучше меня играешь.
You're better than me at both.
Да ладно тебе.
Oh, come
Ади
on.
целый день тренировалась, пока меня дома не было.
You must have been practicing the whole time I was away from home. Olya burst out laughing. Her heart was warm once again.
А как ты догадался?
How did you know?
Я сейчас знаешь, какая меткая. Считай, уже проиграл.
But I'm a good shooter now. You've already lost.
Не на того напала. Включай скорее!
You picked the wrong fight here. Come on, turn it on. Little Olya jumped toward the TV set and after flicking the power switch, started blindly feeling around the backside of the photon, trying to plug the console's cable into the antenna input. Bits of TV shows started flashing on the CRT screen when I armed myself with the remote to look for the channel with the sought-after Dindy signal.
Что дома интересного происходило?
Anything interesting happen at home? It was a mundane question for me. I didn't put any actual meaning behind it. Oh, I guess it did. But Olya's expression suddenly changed. She lost all of the childish nonchalantness she worked so hard to acquire before.
Оль, что-то случилось?
What happened, Olya? My sister managed to put the cable in its place and started brushing off her dust-covered hand. She was clearly looking for the courage to continue the conversation.
Мама,
Mom, she... Olya went silent, and for a moment... Wait, did Mom disappear? Olya went silent, and for a moment I thought I saw tears welling up in her eyes.
у нее опять был этот страшный.
She had this scary thing happen to her again. My sister looked at me with wet eyes.
Приступ.
She had a fit, huh? This had happened before, but it was a rare occasion. Now that we'd moved to this godforsaken place, Mom's fits rose in frequency.
Принес большой.
Dad brought home a big fish. It was wrapped in a newspaper and had a foul smell.
А мама опять начала злиться.
And Mom got angry again, and she took a knife. Olya squirmed, looking fearfully out the window.
Начали громко ругаться.
They started screaming at each other. I froze, imagining my little sister so small and unnoticeable, standing in the kitchen doorway. She wasn't even trying to hide. Our parents just paid her no mind at all.
Потом мама ударила.
And then Mom struck it.
Так.
Like this. Olya slightly moved her fist downward, imitating a strike.
Прыгал.
She hit the fish.
Она была живая, Толь.
It was still alive, Tosha. It must have been in pain. And Mom? It was so easy to imagine what happened next. A wreathing fish with a blade between his fins squirted some foul-smelling musk into Mom's face. Whatever death got this close to my mom, be it when a person was hit by a bus in front of us and their blood was smeared all over the windshield. Or when Grandma chopped off a chicken's head, Mom would always get into a weird, dreadful fit. Her eyes would roll over, she would fall on her face like a freshly cut tree, and start breathing just like that agonized fish, turning over chairs and blurting out bits of scary sentences.
Папа, он ей помог?
And what about Dad? Did he help her? Olya shuddered as if remembering it pained her.
Но вначале
Yes, but at first,
он засмеялся тоже.
he started laughing, Tosha.
Страшно. Когда он увидел, что маме...
He let out an evil laugh when he saw that Mom was in trouble.
Потом вдруг заплакал.
But then he cried. Olya's story made me raise an eyebrow. It seemed like the forest oozing madness had not only completely consumed our mom, but also infected our strong and courageous dad. I quickly stepped toward Olya and locked her in a tight embrace. She dug her face into my chest and I could feel my shirt becoming wet.
Зачем они так издеваются друг над другом, Тош?
Why are they bullying each other, Tosha?
Они сумасшедшие.
Are they crazy? I stuttered, unable to justify the actions of our parents. I had ran out of words and all I could do was hug Olya even tighter. Oh, Jesus! What the fuck? What the fuck? Olya screamed and hid behind me.
Переключи скорей!
Turn it off, quick! It didn't scare me as bad as the wolf did in Act 1, but jeez. No matter how many times she saw this intro, she would always react the same, just like when she saw that owl. I mean, I also got goosebumps every time this ghastly face appeared on the screen, so I immediately complied with my sister's request. Finally, the game selection screen showed up for the cartridge that was bundled with the console. Too bad most of the names here were just different levels of the same game. I picked up the gray rectangular controller and started looking around the pixel letters to find the familiar English word for duck. Background music from the menu soothed Olya's mind, and she asked in a calm voice,
Как твои дела в школе?
"How are things at school?"
Ничего хорошего.
Nothing good.
Школа новая, а достается мне по-прежнему.
The school is new, but my treatment is the same.
Словно и не переезжали никуда. Задолбало.
As if we never moved. I'm tired of this. Before despair could lead me down its depressing road toward the clutches of oppressive thoughts, something evil reached deep inside my skull, awaking wild and pleasant memories.
Хотя, знаешь, кое-что хорошее все же случилось.
Actually, something good did happen. Olya watched with hope-filled eyes as a wicked smile spread on my face, faintly resembling the wound from a box cutter knife.
Еще один мальчик пропал.
Another boy went missing.
Маша, разве это хорошо? Почему ты так говоришь?
Tosha? Do you think that's good? Why do you say that? My sister's voice trembled when she looked into my eyes through thick lenses.
Знаешь, а может, тот пропавший Вова сам виноват, что с ним это случилось?
You know, the other missing boy Vova. Maybe what happened to him was all his fault.
Может, он совершил нечто настолько плохое, что не заслуживал жить.
Maybe he did something so bad that he no longer deserved to live.
Не будь таким жестоким, пожалуйста!
Don't be cruel, please. Olya pressed her knees into her chin and hugged them with her hands, trying to take up less space, as if she wanted to shrink or even disappear altogether. It was the only reasonable thing for us to do, go missing among all the other broken toys, and never encounter either parents or mad classmates. We're the only ones left for each other, the only ones who can protect, listen, and sympathize. Which means she's bound to listen to what I think about them all, these beasts pretending to be children, that are so eager to bully the weak. It was my turn to speak.
Думаю, они не последние.
I think they won't be the last. My breathing quickens, my fingers start banging on the wooden
Такие
floor.
люди, как они, недостойны жить, ходить с нами в одну школу,
People like them are not worthy of living, going to the same school with us,
смотреть на твой свет.
or looking at your light. My thoughts got tangled. They slipped away along with my calmness.
Хватит! Ты меня пугаешь!
Tosha, stop it. You're scaring me.
Не бойся, я смогу тебя защитить.
Don't be afraid. I can protect you. When I finally noticed that Olya was looking at me like I was a stranger.
Кто ты?
Who are you? The rage that welled up inside me subsided. I hid under the guise of my cowardliness, leaving me alone with the growing feel of guilt for scaring my sister.
Оленька, прости, я не хотел.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Видимо, я схожу с ума в этой школе.
I guess I'm just going crazy in that school. She rushed to embrace me, barely holding back her
Всё
tears.
хорошо, Тоша. Только, пожалуйста, пожалуйста, никогда так больше не говори.
It's okay, Tosha. Please, never say anything like this again.
Клянусь маминым сердцем.
I swear on Mom's heart. Olya flashed me a bitter
Сам
smile.
сказал, что так говорить нехорошо.
And you told me I shouldn't say that.
Ты права. Давай лучше играть.
You're right. Let's start playing already.
Только чур я первая.
I go first. Player 1, get ready. Player 2, get ready. I didn't do so good.
Ну-ка, от винта!
Let's get dangerous. Wow, she did good. How am I supposed to top that?
Кто на новенького?
Ha! Who wants some more? I'm so bad at this. Dang, she has been practicing.
Пиф-паф! Ой-ой-ой! Умирает зайчик мой! Ты проиграл, Тоша!
Hey, we got an achievement for making our sister happy. Bang bang and they're dead. You lost, Tosha.
Антон! Антон!
Uh-oh. My mom only managed to get through to me on her third attempt.
Антон, тебя к телефону.
Anton, there's a call for you.
Девушка какая-то.
It's a girl. Polina? I sobered up in an instant and rushed to the hallway.
Не споткнись, смотри.
Watch your step. I grabbed the phone, pressed it into my chest, looking at my mom. She shrugged and went into the room, gathering the toys thrown around by Olya as she went.
Алло?
Hello?
У твоей мамы такой молодой голос.
Yay, it's Polina. Your mom has such a young voice.
А, ну да. Она сама молодая.
Well, yeah, she is young.
Не мешаю?
Are you busy right now?
Нет, что ты.
No, of course not. If only she knew how costly this conversation could be for me, what risk I took on just answering this call. There was a pen and a shabby notepad lying on the nightstand. I picked them up and started moving the tip of the pen across paper, producing chaotic doodles that always ended up turning into hearts.
Я тут подумала, мне надо тебе сказать кое-что.
I've been thinking, I need to tell you something. I froze. It can't be. Does she like me?
В последнее время у тебя такой потерянный вид.
You've been looking so lost
А
lately.
сегодня в школе на тебе буквально лица не было.
And when I saw you at school today, you were pale like a ghost. I couldn't find words. My heart was aflutter in
Я хочу
anticipation.
сказать,
I wanted to say
я на твоей стороне.
that I'm on your side. A smile was spreading on my face in anticipation for Polina's next
И мне
words.
тебя очень жаль.
I feel so sorry for you.
Такие хорошие ребята, как ты, заслуживают большего.
Good guys like you deserve better.
Мне очень хочется верить, что однажды ты найдешь в себе силы дать отпор, и другие перестанут тебя задирать.
I want to believe that you'll find the strength to fight back at some point, and the others will stop picking on you. The pen fell out of my weak fingers. Is that all she's gonna say?
Девушку найдешь.
Maybe you'll even find a girlfriend. It sounded as if she was unsure of her own words.
Кстати, знай, ты славный парень.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that you're a nice guy. It was a total failure. Compassion instead of an invitation to hang out. You there? Before I could reply, Olya descended the stairs. She was holding some book in a pink cover. Encyclopedia of a Young Lady.
Долго еще?
Will you take long? I covered the handset with
Я
my hands.
разговариваю.
I'm in the middle of a
Что
conversation.
случилось?
What happened?
Почитай мне, пожалуйста.
Read me a bedtime story, please.
Мама уснула.
Mom fell asleep.
Иди к себе, я сейчас.
Go to your room. I'll be there in a minute.
Только быстрее, ладно?
Just be quick, okay?
Ладно.
Fine. My last reply sounded excessively annoyed. I sighed, watching my sister running up the stairs.
Алло,
Hello,
Полина?
Polina?
Прости, мне надо бежать.
Sorry, I need to run.
Представляешь, кое-кто втюрился в меня и теперь отирается у моих окон, требуя сходить с ним на свидание.
Can you imagine? There's someone in love with me, and he snoops about under my windows, demanding to go on a date with him. No, Polina's gonna go missing.
Пойду прогоню его, пока дедушка не проснулся.
I'll go chase him away before Grandpa wakes up. Or maybe I should give him a chance. I bit my lower lip in
Если
jealousy.
интересно, расскажу тебе завтра.
I'll tell you tomorrow if you
Мы
want.
в конце концов друзья.
We're friends, after all. Oh. Jeez, friends. At least she didn't say we were besties.
Да, конечно.
Yeah, sure.
Добрый.
Good. The buzzer hammered at my brain. Dirty slut, an angry voice spoke through the teeth in my brain. Like a restless zombie devoid of consciousness, I dragged my feet up the staircase. I wish I could tell Dad, ask for his manly advice. But he doesn't show up home until late at night because of his new job. My parents don't have time for me, to put it lightly.
Ну, где твоя книжка?
Well, where's your book? I stuttered. The kid's room was empty.
Оль.
Olya? She probably snuck into my room. I started walking down the corridor. Was I right? What if it wasn't actually Polina on the phone? It was a distraction. The room was infested with shadows. The blinds were wavering like there was someone hiding behind them. I smiled, sneaked toward the window, and threw open the curtain.
Попалась!
Gotcha! There was nobody behind the cloth. The window was a TV screen showing winter scenery. The lamppost, the field, and a couple of walking figures in the middle of it. Alyssa and Olya! I gasped and pressed my fist to my mouth, sinking my teeth into it. Alyssa was leading Olya into the thicket. I needed less than a minute to hurriedly dress and rush out of the house. My heart was beating like a firing machine gun. The wind carried the cold, resonant smell of coniferous trees from the forest. Freezing air crackled somewhere in the fields. Two shadows loomed in front of the gate. I could only recognize them as my sister and the fox girl because of their height. I ran toward the fence, listening to the howling wind and the squeaking snow. One of the figures moved and slowly glided toward the thicket like an ice skater. I slowed down and touched my glasses, trying in vain to adjust my vision to the surrounding darkness. Worry landed on my shoulders like a weightless snowflake. The snake woke up on my belly and started breathing. I felt nauseous. I thought about my home, the flimsy fortress I'd left behind. I finally caught up to my sister, dressed only in a coat.
Оля!
Gonna be the owl. Olya,
Видел лисичку?
have you seen the foxy?
Оля, зачем ты вышла на улицу?
Olya, why did you go outside?
Если мама узнает...
If Mom finds out... My sister froze in place, facing the taiga. She was in a hand's reach, and I put my numb wrist on her shoulder for some reason, probably to make sure it wasn't a dream. Holy shit. I was right about the owl. A pointy beak was directed at me, strewn with feathers that formed an owl face. Something wearing a bird mask was staring at me.
Не узнает.
Hoot hoot? She won't. The voice sounded exactly like Olya's, but there was somebody else hiding behind the feathers and the curtain. I sprinted away as I got whipped. As if I got whipped. The masked creature only pretended to be Olya, just to lure me out. I was running like crazy, drowning in snow. The house in front of me was rapidly growing. The yellow light in its windows granted me hope. My mom and sister are there, my salvation. I couldn't hear anything from behind, as if nobody was chasing me. Maybe it's because owls fly. I was already climbing the porch when I noticed another figure. From the soot-black shadow of my house, a scruffy wolf cub crawled out and stood in my way. Its movements were jerky, chaotic, as if it were performing some terrifying dance, or convulsing during a stroke. And even though I could clearly see that the wolf face with the mask, something in this werewolf's convulsions made me freeze in place. A boy in a wolf's costume rubbed his side against the porch post and fell to his knees. He bent his back so hard that I expected his spine to crack. The beast's eyes shone, but he didn't attack. I kept crawling around and running on all fours. I shifted my feet, my mouth agape, trying to keep him in my line of sight. Something was trickling from the slit in the mask. Vicious drops fell into the wooden planks. Saliva. Some unknown force pushed me in the back, whispering me to save myself. The fence was flashing by the edge of my vision. It was running in another direction this time, toward the toothy edge of the forest that smelled of pine. My heartbeat measured time. The wolf boy growled behind my back as if he forgot his human nature. Grrr, grrr. My right leg got stuck in the snow-laden cavity. I yanked it out, cursing under my breath, and fell to the ground. Plastering snow prevented me from standing up, from propping myself against anything. But my unbound thirst for life helped me get out of that trap. Darkness was creeping closer, like the toxic fumes of burial pyres. I ran again, gasping for air that stung my throat. My hair swayed in the wind. I lost my hat when I fell down, and my ears were hot from the freezing cold, while most of my body was still sweaty. The field finally ended. After realizing that running into the forest wasn't the smartest decision I could make, I dove into the line of trees. I ran without stopping, my face covered with one of my palms. I didn't want to lose an eye to some random branch. Branches whipped my clothes, pricked my skin like butchers that were herding a pig into the grinder. A knotted root sprouting from the ground grabbed at my foot. Oh shit. I ran into the scratchy trunk, slid down to its base, and looked around in a panic.
Ух, какой ты быстрый.
Phew, you're so fast. My first desire was to dash toward her and hug her. I resisted it and squeezed myself even tighter into the pine. You, what are you doing here?
Да вот,
This and that? She was holding the hat I lost.
находок подрабатываю.
Working part-time and lost and found.
Давай.
Put it on or your ears will freeze and maybe even fall off soon. She giggled. I squinted in suspicion and shifted my gaze back and forth between her and the hat. Feared that Alyssa might be holding a severed head or something, even more sinister. But in the end, my hat turned out to just be a hat. I took it and pulled it over my forehead. Feeling warmer? I didn't reply.
Там во дворе были какие-то дети.
There were some children in the yard.
И что, покусали тебя, что ли?
And did they bite you or something?
Нет.
No.
А чего же ты убежал?
Then why did you run away? The answer was obvious, but after rolling that thought on my tongue, I mumbled.
Не знаю.
I don't know.
Обещала не обзывать тебя дурачком.
Ah, why did I promise to never call you a dunce again?
А я обещание
Oh well, I keep my promises. She walked up to me and grabbed me by the elbow. I sensed the familiar aroma of mint oranges and burnt sparklers. I wanted to lean into Alice, to savor the minute details of her smell.
Сколько можно повторять? Со мной ты в безопасности.
How many times do I need to tell you? You're safe as long as you're with me.
Я твой друг.
I'm your friend.
И они.
And they are too. I quickly turned toward the place the fox girl was pointing to. Oh, it's time to get got. Kids en masse appeared at the clearing. At least they looked like kids since they were all pretty short. They don't look like kids. They look pretty tall to me. A wolf boy, an owl girl, and a bear boy. They all huffed and gasped for air, clearly tired from running around.
Я думала, ты в снег провалился.
I thought you fell through the snow.
Стало снега.
Started digging around, but couldn't find you.
Я не копал.
I didn't care enough.
А ну как получается?
You see, if you're dumb, you run around and dig.
Если
And
он...
if you're smart, you wait until the others get tired of running around and digging.
Уж тогда заводи разговор.
Then you start talking.
Как я рад!
You're a rat.
Дегенерат!
А?
Не обращай внимания, он со странностями.
Don't mind him, he's a weirdo. I stood there stupefied, my mouth agape and my hands dangling helplessly. I had no idea how to react to the words of these late-night guests, but I managed to squeeze out something resembling a smile.
Вы просто меня напугали.
You just scared me, that's all. They started looking at each other and somebody even snorted, as if I said something funny.
Да, да, лиса права!
Yes, yes, the fox is right. I can't roll my R, sorry y'all.
Это он.
He's the one.
Нет, это наш.
No, this is our... Have we finally found him?
Наш зайчик.
Our bunny.
Да, похож.
Yes, he looks the part. The wolf boy started wagging, a part of his costume like his tail in excitement. First?
Ну, конечно, ты первый.
Of course you were first.
Это волчик раньше всех почуял зайчика.
Wolfie here was the first to sense the bunny in you. He told us about you.
Здравствуй.
Hello.
С нашей совушкой ты знаком не понаслышке. Не такая уж она и страшная, правда?
And you've already met our Hootie before. She isn't that scary, is she?
Да, наверное.
I guess.
Этот улыбчивый бугай — медвежутка.
And this smiling big guy is Teddy.
Ты лучше с ним
Be mindful with him, he'll chew off your head.
Зачем это?
What?
Да.
I see you've also dropped your sense of humor somewhere on the way here. I was still unsure if these peculiar little animals had the best intentions in mind, so I hid my hands behind my back, trying to look away from the gaping holes of their carnival masks. Alyssa put her hands on her sides in a theatrical manner and somehow managed to wink with her fox face.
Когда в следующий раз придем, будем звенеть в колокольчики, чтобы ты не так боялся нашего визита.
The next time we come, we'll ring bells for you. That way you'll be less scared of our visit.
У нас разве есть колокольчики?
Do we even have any bells?
Чур, я звенеть не буду.
I won't be
У
ringing.
меня
My
лап.
paw hurts. My smile was no longer fake.
О, зубы показал. Это добрый знак.
Ah, you showed your teeth. That's a good
Не
sign.
ожидала, что сможем тебя рассмешить.
I didn't expect you to find us fun.
Я думала, это под силу только Диснейленду.
I thought it was an emotion reserved strictly to Disneyland.
Откуда ты знаешь?
How do you know that?
Да так, прочитала кое-где.
Was I right? Was I right? Is she Polina? I swear, their laughs were identical. I think she's Polina. I read about it somewhere.
Про меня?
You read about it?
Клюв от воробья.
Aren't you funny? No, about Disneyland, darling.
Ты умеешь читать по-человечески?
You can read human?
Зря я, что ли, в школу хожу день ото дня.
Do you think I've been going to school every day for nothing? And then she sang in a coquettish voice. I don't think I said that right.
Как детей не замечать, как мечты их развенчать. Учат в школе, учат в школе, учат в школе. Крепко-накрепко вломить, с детства слабеньких чморить. Учат в школе, учат в школе, учат в школе.
So the lyrics were where to hit kids every week, where to prey on all the meek, at your local school, of course, and in your classroom. Oh, jeez. I let out a cautious laugh. My new acquaintances didn't seem scary anymore. On the contrary, they looked friendly and welcoming. There was something about them that attracted me. Just like this clearing, this moon and the snowflakes that fell backwards, from the ground to the sky, as if someone was rewinding a tape. The masked kids got close and I felt their touch. They gave me friendly taps, felt my clothes as if they were checking whether I was real. There was no animalistic malice in their touch, only pure childish curiosity. For some reason, I thought to myself, I can trust them. Snowflakes just kept on floating upwards.
Никто тебя больше не обидит.
Nobody will hurt you anymore.
Друг,
Friend.
пусть только попробуют.
Yeah, if anyone even tries to. The fox gave me a slight tug and burst out laughing.
Ну что, Тоша, убежишь с воплями или с нами пойдешь?
Well, then, Tosha, will you run away screaming or come with us?
Куда?
Where to?
На аттракционы!
To the amusement park. At that moment, Taiga's deceptive silence was broken by the sound of a distant flute. Mesmerizing and alluring, it brought about the ring of crystal glass and the whispers of fresh winter spring. If I had any doubts before, the flute song shattered the last of them. I started following my new friends before I could even make a decision. My legs carried me of their own will, and the tunnels made of pine stepped apart. Bushes bowed in front of our procession. Everything looked dreamlike. Because even the clearing we ended up on, I only saw in my dream. The flute soared up into the treetops like some fantastical bird. The snowflakes floated up in a spiral. The moon painted tree branches with silver. Alyssa gasped in amazement. I was also in awe. I tilted my head backwards as far as I could.
Красиво.
What a sight.
Очень красиво.
It's so beautiful. Oh!
Это мелочи.
This is nothing.
Я покажу гораздо больше,
I can show you much more,
если захочешь.
if you want. I did want. I wanted to see what the fox girl saw with her eyes, hidden in the semi-dark of her cape. Now I didn't feel weird about these masked kids. I felt weird for being the only one without a mask. I felt like I was naked in the January winds.
Скажите, а зачем вам маски?
Why do you wear these masks? I was trembling, but I wasn't scared. My trembling wasn't caused by the cold. It originated from peculiar anxiousness, the anticipation of something amazing.
А тебе зачем?
And why do you ask? I touched my cold cheek.
Но я без маски.
I'm not wearing one.
Обожаю человеческие сказки.
I love human tales.
Человеческие ласки.
Human nails.
Человеческие дрязги.
Human fails.
Я же говорила,
I've already told you.
все жители поселка носят маски.
All the villagers wear
Только
masks.
скрываются за ними отнюдь не люди.
It's just you won't find anything human underneath
И
them.
даже я?
Even me?
Ты такой рассеянный, Антон.
You're so clumsy, Anton.
Однажды мы уже нашли твои очки.
We've already found your glasses once already.
И шапку.
And you grat!
И твое настоящее лицо.
And your real face. I looked at the mask the fox was holding out to me. The bunny mask that looked like a silver ingot under the moonlight. I was curious to see the world through its slits. Suddenly, fighting its way through the flute's melody, a thought came to me. The glasses they found were in Simon's possession. My new acquaintances must know what happened to him. Or even worse.
А куда подевался Семен? Что с ним стало?
And where did Simon disappear to? What happened to
И
him?
с остальными детьми?
And the other children? Oh no. The bear and the owl looked at each other. The wolf boy curled into a ball and the fox lowered the pointy nose of the mask.
Тот, кого держали в клетке.
The one who was kept in a cage.
Тот, кто режет мелко-мелко.
The one who cuts into little pieces.
Тот, кто носит кожаное лицо, забрал их.
The one who wears a skinned face took them.
Умел бы я креститься, перекрестился бы.
If I knew how to cross myself, I'd do it.
Хотите сказать, это был человек?
So, you're saying it was a human?
Чем ты только слушал?
Were you listening to us?
Разве можно назвать такого, как он, человеком?
How can you call someone like that human?
Одно слово, взрослый.
There's just one word for him, an adult.
В мире взрослых так легко.
It's easy to get lost in the adult world.
Птицы.
Killers, cruel animal trainers, and cold parents.
Лучше об этом вовсе не думать, чтобы не грустить.
If you don't want to get sad, better not think about them.
Не знаю, как вам, а мне печалиться совсем не хочется.
I don't know about you, but I definitely don't want to be sad.
И я сегодня какой-то не грустный.
Somehow, I'm also not sad today.
Антон.
What about
ты?
Anton?
Huh?
Huh? I was lost in thought, staring at the pines, trying to pinpoint the location of the flute. I was sure that the person who played it was standing right behind the piney stockade. Someone tall going over the holes in the flute with their long fingers.
Так что, сядем тосковать или займемся отдыхом?
What now? Are we gonna sit and be sad or have some fun?
Алиса хотела что-то показать.
Alyssa wanted to show me something.
Давай начнем с самой сладкой части программы.
Let's start with the sweet stuff. The fox girl took out a handful of candy from her pocket and handed them to each of the kids. Covers shuffled. The smell of pineapple, cocoa, and melon wafted through the air. Weird, okay. The last treat, a chocolate-covered waffle candy, Alyssa put right in my mouth. My tongue was engulfed in spiciness. I felt like my body was covered in fur and small sparks were running along it. I chewed on the waffle and the chocolate, gulped them down, enjoying the vivid taste.
Спасибо.
Thanks. My gratitude was barely audible because my lips were already touching the insides of a mask. I didn't even notice how I put it against my face. The papier-mâché was warm. The mask stuck to my skin, giving it a nice prickle. The kind when you dive into a hot bath after being outside in winter, and when you lie there and purr from the soapy water.
Говорила же, это твое!
See? I told you. This is yours.
Моё.
Mine?
Чего стоим? За нас веселиться никто не будет.
What are you waiting for? The fun won't have itself. The melody kept swirling in the field like a hurricane. I couldn't wait to release the energy, the heat that this enchanting music was filling me with. Huh. The owl jumped and disappeared into the sky. I heard her laughter from somewhere above, and then she landed back, huffing and sighing.
Ты так можешь. Попробуй.
You can do it too. Give it a try. I followed suit. That'd be so cool. My feet tore off from the ground. I flew toward the stars like a rocket and screamed from happiness after seeing my friends down below. The wind helped me fly. It felt like I was jumping on a huge trampoline. The stars looked like vivid sparkles that I could reach and lick up. The moon also got closer, and then I plunged. I got scared that I'd break my legs for a moment, but my soles landed softly on the ground, and I regained balance.
И ты в безопасности.
You're safe with us,
И все твои мечты станут явью.
and all your dreams will come true.
Я так счастлива наконец обрести тебя!
I'm so happy that I finally found you.
Зайчик!
Bunny! In a fit of merry laughter, I realized the most important thing. These four are not a threat. My real enemies, and I felt that with every single hair on my mask, were those who knew nothing about magic. Humans from the village. I also realized how alive my surroundings have become. I heard the dry grass under the snow moan. I saw faces of the trees and the stars. The trees were smirking, and the stars were grimacing in fear. That's right, be scared. I'll jump you, and... I snapped my teeth, then I let out a jubilant laugh, jumping up along with the fox. We flew higher than the tallest pines and stayed in the air. I swirled. Alyssa followed my rhythm. I knew she was smiling, so I smiled too. And the flute just kept on playing, carrying us higher and higher.
Эй, тебя что, заколдовали?
Hey, did someone put a spell on you? Oh, was I daydreaming? So now we're back at school with Polina. That someone is standing next to me, I thought, trying to unglue my chin from the desk. My muscles felt slightly sore, but that feeling was pleasant. The whole class was wandering about for some reason, whispering and passing notes to each other. Their faces looked like discolored masks to me, bleak and boring. I yawned, remember the time I was soaring high above the forest with Alyssa by my side, laughing and squeezing my hand. Perhaps no, probably, it was all just a dream. Because I didn't walk back from the forest, just woke up in my bed on a normal morning with tea and medicine. Still, I was hardly worried about trying to find a rational explanation for my night dance. That feeling of flight was much more important. The knowledge of how it feels to be hanging in the air above the treetops of majestic pines and baring my teeth at the moon.
Прости, задумался.
Sorry, I got lost in thought.
Слышал уже про Катю?
Have you heard about Katya?
А?
Huh? Yes! I glanced at the empty seat in front of me.
пропала.
Katya went missing. My sleepiness was gone in an instant. I frowned in suspicion.
Как пропал? Быть не может.
What do you mean? It can't be. Ah, good riddance. Katya, 12 years old. She was last seen during the day on January at the schoolyard. Identifying features: tall, green eyes, light brown hair. I always thought she was blonde. I don't know. I guess I assumed she was blonde. I guess not. She was dressed in a fur hooded coat, a knitted hat with a pom-pom, a white scarf and gloves. Special identifying features was a strawberry-themed scrunchie. If anybody has any information, call blah, blah, blah. Episode 4, Stomp Your Hooves and Wait. All right, that was it. That was the end of episode 3. That got really good, I'm not gonna lie. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you guys for episode 4. It's going so good so far, and I can't wait to play episode 4. Anyway, have a good night, guys. Bye!